Welcome to Ratals.com tutorials part 1 and setting your site up as an e-commerce store. In the last videos, we set it up as a blog so that it looks like this. And now we're going to convert it over into an e-commerce store. So what we're going to do to start off is log into our backend area. And if you remember, when we set up our software, we set up our backend area as admin1. So I'm going to go there and log in. And once logged in, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to switch this template back to the store, because by default, when you install the Ratals software, it installs as an e-commerce store template for the home page. And so how to do that, we're going to go into content, pages, all pages, and I'm going to sort this to get our home page because I know it was the first URL or file that was installed when we installed the software. You can also search for the homepage here or here in the URL, but I'm going to go to edit and I'm going to come down here and I'm going to change this back to our homepage store so we can run an e-commerce store and take it off of blog because we're not running a blog anymore. I'm also going to remove this content here that we added in just so that we can see what it looks like if we wanted to add content up above. And I'm going to make this back to homepage. I'm going to go down here, hit save, hit refresh. We're kind of now back to what the homepage looked like after installing the software. However, if we go to blog, we can still see the blog post that we created and also our category of shoes. So we can go into that and go directly into our blog. So now we can have a blog and an e-commerce store all on the same site. Now, what we're going to do first for starting out is there's some core items that we have to set up in order to make the store work. So the first thing we have to do is create an inventory item. But to create an inventory item that we attach to a product page, which then we attach to a category or the home page where we can display our products and categories and whatnot, what we have to do first is create a vendor. Then we have to create some type of taxes if we're going to charge them. And then we have to create a brand or manufacturer, a shipping center, and a shipping carrier. So we're going to set these up first as they're kind of the first thing that has to happen to be able to set up a store. Now, once these are set up, we can keep adding more vendors and tax buckets and brands and so forth, shipping centers, carriers, but we kind of need at least one to be able to get going. Now, taxes is not required if you're not going to charge tax or VAT for places where they use VAT. If you're not going to charge that, you don't need to set this up. You can set on the inventory item that you're not going to charge any of it. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go and create a vendor, and that's going to be inside of our accounting, and we're going to go to vendors, and we're going to go in here, and I'm not going to worry about setting this up perfectly with correct addresses, phone numbers, because this doesn't validate, because remember, this is a vendor for you of where you go and buy this product once you get a sale. So I'm not going to worry about it being perfect. It's more about just having a vendor in here so that we can create an inventory item. But you should be setting this up correctly. Now you'll notice in here that it gives us the option to select our country. And right now we only have United States and Canada in here. So I'm going to show you how to add more in here if you want to add more countries in here. And if you're on a state, province, or region, to be able to set those up as well. Okay, but first we're just going to set it up like this as a state. We'll get all the way to the point to where we have an inventory item, and then I'll go back and show you how to set these up. Okay, so again, I'm not trying to set up anything perfect in here in the sense of the data. I'm just trying to create a vendor. So the next thing we have to do is set up a tax or a VAT if you're going to have one, and that's under accounting as well. So it's called sales tax. Now, if you're in a place where it's VAT, you can change this name to VAT down here in the admin area by going to the admin pages, finding these pages and call it sales VAT if you want to switch it to your naming. We need to go into our sales tax and we don't have any created yet. So we're going to create our first bucket in here. I'm going to just call it all products. So essentially, if we had products where we charge a lesser tax in the same location, like state, zip code, region, whatever it be, we can create different tax brackets depending on what type of product it is if there's different taxes to charge. So I'm just going to go ahead and set this up for just all products. And we're just going to go ahead and add one item in here And I'm just going to go ahead and call this name Utah because that's where I'm going to set the tax to charge for. And I'm going to give the front end name as just fees. Now, you might want to give this estimated tax, estimated VAT, whatever is correct for you. I'm going to go ahead and say United States, and I'm going to select Utah. I'm not going to put a postal code in. I'm just going to go ahead and put 5% in here for Utah, and I'm going to go ahead and say we do charge tax on shipping. But we're going to go ahead and just set that up. Brand/manufacturer. So we're going to set that up next, which is inside purchasing. We're going to go down here and set up a brand. And the first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to call it brand. And I'm not going to go too much into how this brand is used right now. I'm just going to just put it in here as just brand. Okay. Just keep it really simple. And then the next thing we have to set up is a shipping center. So where are our products going to ship from, right? And if this helps us judge the distance between our buyer and where it's going to ship from to be able to do shipping quotes. So we're going to go into our shipping centers right here, and we're going to add a shipping center because we don't have any. So we'll add a shipping center, and I'm just going to go ahead and just attention who's the worker or the person at the warehouse who's kind of in charge, who this should be attention to if we ever put this on a PO, right, as a shipping center. So I'm just going to put myself as the head person at the shipping center. What's the name of this warehouse? And I'm just going to go ahead and call it Warehouse 1 for simplicity, okay? I'm actually going to spell it out so it makes it a little bit longer so we can recognize it. So Warehouse 1. Now I'm just going to go ahead and put this all the way down. All this, you should really be putting your correct warehouse address information in here to get a correct shipping quote. And I'm going to go ahead and select where this warehouse is and a zip code. And then for our latitude and longitude, this is really what's used to judge distances, okay? I'm not going to go into a whole lot of latitude and longitude, but you could do searches to say, hey, what's the latitude and longitude of this city, state, region, country, however you want to search it, and you can usually find where stuff is at. So I'm just going to go ahead and say we're 40 on our latitude, and our longitude is going to be negative 110, like so. Now, this is not perfect, but I know this is somewhat close to where we're at. And so that's what I'm just going to enter in. For our phone number, I'm just going to enter in zeros because, again, I'm not trying to make this perfect. I'm just trying to create a shipping center so we have one that we can select. And then our email address, we'll use our support at ratalsdemo.com. And track inventory, we're going to say yes. Now, if this is a drop ship item, you can say no to not track inventory on it if you don't know the inventory of what it's going to be. And I'm just going to select prepaid. Again, we'll go into what some of this stuff means or what all of it means in another video later. So now we have a shipping center. So now we need to go set up a shipping carrier. And for our shipping carriers, we go down here into our settings, shipping carriers, and we currently don't have any set up. So I'm just going to go ahead and set one up, and I'm just going to enable it, and I'm just going to select free for right now, a free shipping carrier, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just put none because this is free. There is no user ID, and that's a required field in case this is a real API it's connecting to or EDI that it's connecting to, it's required. But when we use free shipping, it's not going to connect to anything to try to get a quote because there's nothing to get. And then we do have to select a test mode or a mode, and I'm just going to select test because mode isn't used either on free shipping. It's just literally not going to charge anything. And then we're going to go down here to the bottom. And well, one thing I'm going to go over really quick is you notice right here it says track shipment URL. Now, when we send the confirmation email to the customer to say, hey, your order is shipped, this free shipping obviously is not a carrier, so we have no tracking URL. And so what we're going to do is we're going to leave this blank, but we're going to create another shipping carrier where we can fill it in where it might not be in the system, okay? So we're going to go ahead and hit save. So we just have our free shipping set up. So what we're going to do now is if we go back in and we add, we notice that we have a few carriers set up. So USPS and UPS are going to grab real rates. Flat rate is where we can set it to say, hey, this is going to cost and United States dollars, let's say $1 or $5 to ship this. Now, if we want to do a flat rate, we can select that and it'll let us put a flat rate in on the inventory item. But in this situation, we're not going to use any of these. Let's say that your local carrier is none of these, but you want to send out the email to the customer to say your order has shipped. So what we have to do is add a carrier in here, and there's some instruction right here telling you how to do that. I already know how to do it, so I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to show you. But it is telling us it's list ID 32 when we go to our admin fields. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go down here to our admin fields list, and we're going to go into all lists, and we're going to look for 32. Now, when we go into 32, you can see here's where our shipping carrier is at. So I'm going to add one in here, and I'm just going to call this my custom carrier, okay? And just for the purposes of being able to put a tracking number on this, when we tell the customer your order is shipped, our carrier name is going to be my custom carrier. So this would be the name of your carrier in doing this. So now in our value, we don't have to worry about it being lowercase. We can just leave it like that. So I'm just going to leave it like that and hit save. And I'm going to drop this down right there. So now we have my custom carrier. So now when we go back over to our settings, to our shipping carriers, what we're going to do is we're going to add another carrier, enable it, and we're going to use my custom carrier. You can see how it's in here now because we added the carrier in as a custom carrier into this list. And I'm going to say none because let's say I'm not connected to an API. Now, if you build out an API, we'll have videos for coding if you want to build out an API for a carrier you want to put in here. But if you're not connected to it, we have to put none in here because this will validate. And we're just going to put it, again, test mode, because these aren't really used, but they do validate in case it is connecting to an API. Now, for my custom carrier, you will need to get their tracking URL, such as something like this. So in the United States, we have USPS.com. And at the end, almost all the tracking carriers will put like an equals like this at the end. Ratals software at that point will attach here the actual tracking number like so when you put it into the system when we send the email out to the customer to say, hey, your order is shipped. So for right now, I'm just going to leave this as USPS, okay? And so we're going to get a link in our email for my customer or my custom carrier from USPS, okay, in our email. So now we can say, we can set it up as free shipping, but have the carrier to put the tracking number on it when we ship it out to the customer. And now we have everything set up to where we're ready to go back up to our purchasing here, and we can add an inventory item and create the whole thing. And so in our next video, this is what we're going to do. We're going to create the inventory item. Then we're going to clone or make a whole bunch of variances of this inventory item that we create so that we can make it a whole bunch of inventory items that we attach to a product. And of course, if you only need one inventory item and not all these variances, you can skew down to however small you need it to be, but this will show you how to make it really large and use what you need out of it. Thanks for watching. See us in the next video.